In this second week of Lent, we are in the midst of Paschal journey. On a recent evening walk, I saw some trees that had already given everything to the turning of the season, and yet they seemed to still dream of a new journey which would begin with budding shoot and then flower yet again. The calmness of the trees humbled me because though they know well of the stormy nights and dry season to come, they nevertheless begin their journeys again and again. Reflecting on our first reading today, Abraham, like the trees, is ready to continue his life journey. He hears a voice that says, "Go forth from the land of your kinfolk and from your father's house to a land that I will show you." Had Abraham heard these words during the spring days of his youth, he would likely have left for such a journey joyfully and delightfully. However, at the time of this message, he was already 75 years old. He was firmly settled in his hometown, in a life surrounded by his own people and cloaked by his many social positions. At this advanced age, Abraham knew the journey would not be comfortable, especially because he would enter unknown land as a stranger. In understanding Abraham's calling, I give special attention to the phrase, "a land that I will show you." There is neither a map to guide him to a destination, nor a master plan to follow. We can see that Abraham's journey is not a simple and joyful calling to a youth dreaming of the future and free to follow without restrictions. Instead, this journey calls him into an unknown future and a situation of uncertainty. The Lord invites him to leave the familiarity, walk like a pilgrim, and become a wanderer, being open to possibilities. As such, one clear aspect is that accepting the calling means taking on a journey toward the promised land with faith and engaging in an endlessly unfolding process to reach the mystery of God. That journey is eternally present. God promised Abraham that he will not only receive many blessings, but that he himself would become a blessing. What does it mean to be a blessing? The word for blessing in Hebrew is barak, which means a gift or doing valuable things for others out of favor. During his journey, Abraham often encounters moments of deep loneliness and alienation. In the midst of this, he has to be taken in by generous spirits to receive physical shelter and connection. Then later he encounters numerous strangers to whom he provides spiritual and physical comfort. He comes to meet many people with no resources, single mothers, hungry immigrants, and wandering exiles. In Abraham's journey, I find the rhythm of the Paschal mystery. Abraham receives blessings, and then he, as a blessing, is given to others to bring with him the grace of God as a gift of honor and respect. First, as a stranger, Abraham receives gifts, favors, and shelters. Then he pays forward kindness, hospitality, and warm-hearted conversation with and for others. The rhythm of the journey also manifests in the gospel story. With his beloved disciples, Jesus walks into the Paschal mystery. The narrative describes that Jesus' face shone like the sun, his clothing became white as a light, emphasizing the state of glory. On a high mountain, Jesus is transformed. Peter, one of the three, replies to Jesus, "Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here." Peter repeats the word here twice. Of course, he's eager to dwell on the mountaintop. Then we hear God's voice, "This is my beloved Son. You should listen to him." This voice reminds us of Jesus' baptism, an event of his mission initiation, which begins with God's blessing. The phrase, "my beloved," is equivalent to favor and signifies a blessing. In this passage, I find the emphasis is rather on the last line. They were coming down from the mountain, in contrast to Peter's desire to stay. First, Jesus, who receives blessing from God the Father, goes to Jerusalem and becomes a blessing himself as a lamb of the feast of Passover. We, the people of God, are also invited into the rhythm of a Paschal journey, which first begins with our receiving blessings to then become blessings ourselves. We experience these abundant blessings, and then we encounter the cry of the poor, the lonely, and the oppressed. In this rhythm of the Paschal journey, we continue to walk into the land that God shows us as eternally present pilgrims, as a gift to others.